I welcome our viewers at the Red Line Show. Today we will discuss the latest events in the world. Today with me, my two colleagues, Henry Kyiv and Pavlo, and we will discuss the greatest peace negotiator of the world, Viktor Orban, who today came to Moscow and have some talks with dictator Putin, with war criminal, with war on terrorist. So, my first question to you, Henry. Do you think these negotiations of Orban with Putin and previously with Zelensky will lead to something?
No.
Why?
Absolutely. Well, there is an obvious reason, because Putin does not actually mean that much in the world.
Putin?
Yes, exactly. I mean, he can start a war, but he's craving discussion with the world leaders, and there are none. Nobody wants to talk. Josep Borrell doesn't want to talk to him. Nobody. But
a few days ago, Putin was on the CSO summit.
All right. Let me answer it in another way. What do you think the result should be? What Putin wants, some influence between European and Western politicians. He wants a discussion. He wants a negotiation. At least talks about whatever, peace or war. It doesn't matter. Some talks to have some weight. The Putin, the first, the great, whatever, peace. Dove came to him. It was Hungarian president of European Council, of European Union. Now is the chance to talk. But what else? Nothing comes out of it. What is the reason for that? Is to show that he at least has that much influence, that much of interest, and Orban obviously wants the same.
But another question to Pavlo, why Orban did this?
Did what? Why did he go to Moscow right now?
Yes.
Well, you see...
He could just call to Putin like Macron in early 2022.
That's not how this works, and it's not COVID times anymore, so people can actually travel,
Despite Ukrainians.
Okay, but so why did he come to Kyiv first and then to Moscow? Probably is because he wants to present himself as a great negotiator, the greatest probably negotiator in Europe. He has long had that, like an image of the best Putin's friend in Europe, of the Hungarian Prime Minister. But still, he is a leader of a European country and a NATO country, and he has some responsibilities.
Exactly.
He can be a negotiator, he can communicate on his own behalf, not on behalf of the EU, but he's still a leader of a European and NATO country. He has responsibilities.
He has responsibilities. He is a leader. But the question was, what will come out of it, do you think?
God knows, because like you talked before, the Kremlin wants talks with someone to present. You see, we having this discussion with Europeans. You see, the president of the European
Great, and what next?
Union. Yeah.
What happens then? What do you think? The war? There will be more of aggression of Russian Federation here in Ukraine, or will be less? Or Hungary will become the part of Russia? Do you think nothing will change?
No, I think that something will change because first of all, as Orban said today in Moscow, he became one of the last negotiator in the world who could speak to both sides.
Both sides, meaning Ukraine
and yes.
Also, he is a good guest in Beijing.
Yes, but you see, there are some. I think there are some Saudi Arabia, some Qatar, some Emirates who could be the same negotiator.
Are they not Europeans?
But Orban called himself the last in the world, not in the Europe, but in the world.
Well, that's not quite true, because, as you said before, we had intermediaries. We had Saudi Arabia helping with bringing Ukrainian children back. We had Qatar helping with that.
We could use, for example, Turkey, who was a negotiator in the first months and the main negotiator with the grain corridor.
So I believe that Orban wants to take kind of that position that the president of Turkey has, like the bridge between Russia and Europe, the negotiator, because Turkey was present at the summit of Shanghai cooperation,
Yes.
Yes, and why not negotiate with Europe through Turkey? Like, Turkey is part of NATO.
Okay. So negotiations, has to have a matter that is agreed upon by both parties or three parties or how many parties are there. So what is Hungary bringing on a Ukrainian part of the table in this negotiator? If we say that I am wrong and something can come out of it, that must be something for Ukraine and something for Russia. What is this?
I think that Orban, during these two visits into Kyiv and to Moscow, he take all the maybe negotiation points of both sides, maybe something that could discuss.
So just anything, just to say that here I am the negotiator, here are the points, and he doesn't really care about if there will be peace, long-lasting, and just because Ukraine wants long-lasting and just peace.
Yes.
Russia wants
long-lasting
and just war.
Yes.
Exactly. So and Orban between that can be called a negotiator if he negotiates. But he was just visiting two countries and showing off. Okay, let's see what will come out of it. I would be glad if I will be wrong and something good out of that comes out for Ukraine. But I don't think that anything come out. I don't think that there is much sense in the presidency of the European Union taken by Hungarian side. Nothing will ever change.
Henry, we have seen the tweet, the message on the X social network by Josep Borrell. No, Bashar Michel, yeah, that Orban cannot speak on the behalf of EU mandate with Putin.
But Putin said.
But it's the internal representation. Yet Orban had that image like he was hated. He was hated in Ukraine, in Europe, many countries, for being kind of Putin's friend in Europe, for holding down aid packages from European Union, for not allowing to apply sanctions.
That's true.
Yeah, and right now we see that he tries to present himself as a strong leader, European, like Europe has a dialogue with the aggressor, which is not right, of course, but still, it is something, it is diplomatic activity, we can say about that.
I take that because we just learned that information, how much the 51% of Hungarians actually voted, they really believe, according to some, I don't know, social polls or whatever it was, right. So they say that Ukraine is a danger, poses danger to Hungary. Don't ask me how and why. Well, the other 46% think this is rubbish, and Russia poses danger to the country. But still,
you see, as I read this poll, Ukraine 51%, Russia 46%, China and the USA 34%. It means that you could choose
any enemy.
Not any enemy, but few. It's not one answer.
More than one.
Yes, you could choose two or more answers.
Options,
so that's why someone vote for Ukraine and USA, someone Ukraine Ukraine and China, and
that's an interesting poll.
And the others. I think that those people who vote against Russia, there was just one answer. So if this poll will be with one possible answer, the results
will be different.
Also we remember that Slovakia has a similar view, so they are negative towards Ukraine. Our closest neighbors, Slovakia and Hungary, first line, and they are more positive towards Russia because they believe in that.
Because why?
Because of the old myth that Russia defeated Nazism, and like we are against Nazis. Yeah, it's Russian propaganda working.
Yeah, true.
It's Russian propaganda working. We absolutely love and support our friends from Hungary and Slovakia. We have many Hungarians helping Ukrainians, fighting in the ranks of Ukrainian forces, and Transcarpathian Hungarians too. True. It is only the matter of the politics. So we are talking only about Orban, not about the country, because it's our partner. It's our really important partner. I believe we have some gas transit through Hungary and Slovakia. But if we communicate about this meeting in Moscow, which is the main topic. I believe that he will go to Beijing next. So, like, to demonstrate, you see, I'm
then to
negotiating. Well,
And then to Washington.
probably to Washington.
That would be nice for Beijing.
Yeah, to meet with Donald Trump.
Beijing, Washington,
Make
Kyiv,
Europe great again.
and Sofia. That's the...
But okay, you say about two Ukrainian neighbors, Slovakia and Hungary,
Yeah.
who supports mostly Russia. But
No, not support.
Not supports, but
They have kind of, again, according to some polls, which are not objective 100%, they're just social polls, they have a more positive attitude to Russians because they believe they defeated Nazism, and they've been hearing for the last 10 years that there are Nazis in Ukraine.
okay. But my question is, why then Poland and Romania, who also as our neighbors,
Yeah.
hasn't this thing?
That's a different story. That's a very interesting question because Poland has a border with Russia.
Okay,
It's
Romania
one.
hasn't.
Romania has a sea border with Russia, so a naval border. They are threatened by Russian fleet.
Okay.
Hungary and Slovakia do not have borders with Russia. They do not have sea access.
Are you saying that any country that actually experienced what Russia is already just knows it?
Henry, you're from Latvia.
Yeah, I know. The Latvia definitely says and shows, with all respect and things it does for Ukraine, that we do not want to go back to the Soviet Union, which actually is
course.
Russia.
But Hungary.
Wait, and just a second ago, our Latvian friends announced 2,500 drones from the Latvian government to Ukrainian forces, another aid delivery. So we can assume that the closer the border with Russia to a country, the more pro-Ukrainian this country will be.
Okay, but according to your position, we have Bulgaria, who has also border with Russia, but has the same thing as Hungary and Slovakia, more than Romania and Poland. So they are more pro-Russian than Ukraine, than Romania.
Well, guys, I mean, I'm sorry.
No, let's not. We haven't seen Bulgaria blocking some decisions on aid, so
We see the Bulgarian president who is more pro-Russian than the president of Romania or Poland.
Of course, but we had problems only with Hungary in that regard.
Well,
right?
the question is, what would you do about it? It doesn't matter if you say that there would be any something can come out from this visit. I agree with you partly. I maybe do not want for something to come out of this, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you are right, and something will come out of it. I agree also to Paul that the country that has experience of any relations, if that can be called a relations with Russia, has a bad memories of that. But what do we do about this? Can you, let's say some of you you are the president of Ukraine, and Orban comes to you, would you meet him? Do you have to meet him?
Yes, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So that was the point. Anyway, it has to be done to show that we are ready to a dialogue. But Orban doesn't. He's maybe forced to this dialogue. But when he says
With Ukraine or with Russia?
well, I mean, with Ukraine, I believe so. But with Russia, I mean, he wants.
Henry, we cannot assume that Orban will ever stop a dialogue with Russia until the nuclear power plant, which Rosatom is building for Hungary, will be built.
Yeah.
So we can say it's not even a villain choice. They signed the contract. They have to follow it. And do you remember who doesn't follow contracts? Like, we have one country in particular which doesn't follow any treaty and contract, but Hungary is a European country. They respect their obligations and they follow the contract.
I agree.
Okay, by back into the theme that countries that has the experience with the relation with Russia, we had the experience of Hungary 56. We have the experience of Czechoslovakia in 68.
So those are both, let us remind, those were both Soviet armed interventions, occupation of Hungary and occupation of Czechoslovakia by Soviet armed forces.
And both and we said few minutes ago that Hungary and Slovakia. Okay, Slovakia was a part of Czechoslovakia, and there was some there are some question about.
Yeah, the capital was in Prague.
Yes, so Slovakia hasn't experienced all this experience. But Hungary, they had the 56 year when the Soviet Union army invade into Budapest. There are many monuments in Budapest on these events, and Russia
And still they are pro-Russian, you mean that?
Yes. And still they think that Moscow is great and Ukraine is
Well,
is a danger.
That's how propaganda works. That's how sometimes it works. In some countries, it just doesn't. That's how. I mean, there's always. It's better to believe in the myth than in
Guys,
reality.
I believe that we are like sleeping off. We cannot say from the name of Hungary that they like Moscow and don't like Kyiv. Let's return to
Diplomacy
To,
terms.
yeah, to Orban, because
Okay, let's ask
I
audience.
believe
Let-
what I thoroughly believe is that Hungary and Hungarian people are European supporters and supporters of democracy in Ukraine, and we cannot talk about the whole country about one politician. Like maybe two, and Peter Siatov.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Let's speak about the most part of population, because 30% of Hungarian supports Orban party in the European Parliament elections. So 30% of Hungarian. We don't speak about 100, but about 30. Don't remember the 56?
Yeah, that's. You know, in Ukraine, they had this propaganda working, and some people were like collaborators when Russia came in 2022.
Okay, and in 2014.
Yeah. So that's exactly why information, hygiene, and why propaganda is important.
But I don't agree with you, because these collaborators, they thought that with Russia, living with Russia will be better. Because why?
Probably that's why Hungarians vote for Orban. They think that they will live better when he is elected.
Exactly. I mean, this is the. Well, I agree with you. People believe in things. That's one thing. That's all about politics. They just believe in things, not very much facts. And the fact that what Russia does do, whatever it touches, you have to really experience it. But it also depends on the social class of the people that believes in things. I believe in what I see with my own eyes. I've been here for 2.5 years, so I've seen Bucha. Because I would not believe this. I wouldn't believe a pit in the ground full of dead bodies. And we cannot transcend my experience to anybody there in Hungary. Orban, we have to react.
And he has been there. He's been in Bucha like a couple of days ago when he was at Kyiv.
But he also has nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
He has his own reasons. He is the leader of the country. So we have to treat him as a leader of the country. And the idea of Ukrainian diplomacy should be how to get Hungary loving Ukraine more.
Of course. We have to
what do
make
we do about
allies.
It? How do we do it? Yeah, how do we do it? Let's ask the audience. People, what do you think? Whatever comes of the Hungarian prime minister, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, presidents and prime ministers. I'm living in a high world, you know. So, Prime Minister of Hungary visiting Ukraine, Kyiv, and Moscow in Russia. What comes out of it, you think? Please comment in the comments below. And we keep on discussing. How do we do with what do we do about it?
You see, our diplomacy is working with Hungary. We have 11 points presented by Hungary to Ukraine. How to make life of Hungarians in Ukraine better as a national minority, and that is declared as the main obstacle to mutual Hungarian-Ukrainian friendship. We will have some communication and discussions because our interests, like Transcarpathia is a region of Ukraine. It has to be Ukraine and Ukraine first, and then interests of national minorities come in. But we have that dialogue. With Slovakia, we don't have any problems with Slovakia, and Robert Fico, may his health be good, doesn't go to Moscow and doesn't go to Beijing. He's in the hospital right now.
Yes.
So yeah, and he haven't had those conflicts with national minorities. We have Slovaks too in Ukraine, and Transcarpathia for some time was part of Czechoslovakia before World War II. But it was always friendly. With Hungary, we have this kind of dispute: what rights are okay for Hungarians and what rights are not okay.
But why are we speaking about Hungarians and not about all the minorities? Because Ukraine
Because we
has
don't have much
this
time.
problem.
In mountain
If-
outro-
we
national
have this,
country, yeah.
yes, because when we separate one minority, all the time it was Russian minority. Then then the Kremlin decide, okay, the Crimea will be our. So if we now will separate Hungarian minority in some time, maybe Budapest will said will.
I was worried about that, but there has been like a shift, a moment when I wasn't worried anymore, because I truly believe that people in Europe follow their promises, and by securing a working mechanism for national minority rights for Hungarians, we then could provide rights and comfort for other national minorities in Ukraine.
That's nice words and nice talking, but I sincerely do not believe that people are holding their promises. I sincerely do not believe that we are good, and I don't believe that people are good as a species, because we didn't care about any other wars until the war came to us.
Yeah.
So we have to find a reason to make people good, and we have to find a reason for Orban and for Hungarians to believe, to see that we are good. We have to do it. That's not only a diplomatical question. It's the question more like, philosophical, if you want to. So we have to push them to ourselves. We
Yeah.
have to give them something, literally, give them something.
If we can, if we can propose something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that should be. There's a reality.
I don't agree with your position because if we see the expansion of NATO in early 2000s,
Right.
Baltic countries joined to EU and NATO. What these countries could give to EU and NATO in this time?
Enlargement.
Like,
It's enlargement. First of all, the second one. The second is the shift of the old weaponry to these countries, and then the new weaponry can be produced, which is, I don't know, trillions of dollars, for ages, for decades.
Rearmament.
Rearmament.
Okay.
And they also the borders.
This could be. It could be not Baltic countries, but
Any other countries.
Not, but former Yugoslavia.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about one and the same thing. You're talking about the human values matters.
Yes.
Exactly. But how to push those that do, for some human values matters, and you don't have to push them. You don't have to offer them anything.
Okay.
For some human values in New York, in Donbass, should be working just as well as human values in New York. But for some, it is a total different reason. Let's say New York is a good and nice and democratic country, and it stays the same. Whatever happens there in Ukraine, we just don't care. And people say that. We have to work with those people. We have to push them.
How?
We have to. I don't know. I'm not.
We have to figure it out.
Paul said, "God knows I'm not God yet. I know I'm good, but not that good yet. So I don't know. I know we have to push them. We have to find a reason, and that's a hell of a diplomatic and political work to make enemies our friends. This is a very, very, very hard work, and we can do that. Sometimes we don't have to. First of all, what we have to do, we do not have to put a label and a sticker on the
That
enemy,
would
say that
be
this is a bad boy.
Russians.
You do. Come on. The open enemy, that's a different thing. When someone invades your country, you do not discuss it. You just kill the enemy because he came to murder, to rape, to abduct your children. There is no discussion, Russian. Sorry. This is,
So it could be discussion in the future.
with the other power, it would be discussion. It will be. Trust me. We cannot.
But maybe this is what Orban wants right now. He do the first steps in this.
Zelensky wants it also. He said we're ready for discussion for long and just peace, even with Putin. He is ready. But what is a long and just peace for Ukraine means nothing for Russia. Have you heard the proposal? You have to give a part of Ukraine, say no to NATO. You can enter Europe, but we'll think about it. And then we have, just a piece of Ukraine, we take it for ourselves. That's a peace proposal. That's a war proposal, gentlemen.
That's an ultimatum, like the ultimatum which Stalin made to Romania to take Bessarabia just before World War II. We have to be valuable. our leaders, our diplomacy has to find values, because human values matter, of course, but you have to
Reasons,
propose.
not
Yeah,
only values, reasons.
yeah. So reasonable partnership is always stronger than
Absolutely.
valuable.
You told me that Orban has a
partnership.
nuclear power plant that, I mean, has to be
Yeah.
finished. It has to be finished. That's a responsibility. And Hungarians want this plant and they need it.
Yeah.
And it's already started like decades ago. It needs to be finished. Whoever it is, Putin, whoever. So we have to understand that. And by understanding that being a country at war means that we are actually serving for human values. We are for Hungarians, and our diplomats have to find a way to show it to Hungary, less emotional than I do now. But they have to.
Sometimes emotions work in diplomacy. And before Ursula von der Leyen and Charles Michel and other European leaders visited Bucha,
I've
and
been
Kyiv.
there. I've seen Ursula's face when
Yeah.
she was looking inside the pit
Yeah.
with dead bodies.
And,
that's
you
she
remember
was
that
pale.
shift?
Yeah, that's the shift. But you cannot take every European leader to that pit at the ground. You
Well,
have to
the
find
last
other
one was
reasons.
Orban.
Like, yeah. Well,
He was
There
the
we go.
last to visit Kyiv and to see all this. And
what I love about this guy.
And Orban came to Kyiv after 2.5 years from the beginning of the full-scale war, because he don't want to know about this.
Exactly. He just closes. I mean, he doesn't. That means that he doesn't have a chance to avoid this
guys,
visit
he
anymore.
was last
That's
time
a
in
good
Ukraine
news.
when Yanukovych was in power.
Okay, but
Yeah, it was
Okay.
hell a lot of time ago.
Petr Siarto was in Ukraine in early 2024, but
Right.
the meeting with Yermak was in Uzhhorod, not in Kyiv. So Uzhhorod for Hungary is like 5 kilometers from me.
From the border, yeah.
Yes.
And but that's all details. We don't have to.
So I mean that Hungarian authorities don't want to know about Ukrainians.
So what? So we have to make them. We have to find reasons. The best friend of Ukraine is Ukraine people. We have to learn this. Nobody cares about us but us, better than us. And what we have to do is find the reason, find the goddamn reason for Hungary to love Ukraine, to say we are friends, we want friends.
Maybe, okay, I propose to work with our friends, for example,
Exactly.
Poland, who told the Hungarians that border with Russia is bad thing, so you must support Ukraine.
That's one way out. Also, we have to find out the stories of Hungarians that are successful here in Ukraine, that are fighting for Ukraine. And we have to show another, not just Orban that is forced to the dialogue with Zelensky and obviously does not want any dialogue, does not want any negotiation, because he wants Russia to have whatever Russia wants to have in Ukraine. But the thing is that the reason of diplomacy, Ukrainian diplomacy, to find another Hungarian stories, find stories that the people gave their lives. Hungarians gave their lives for the freedom of Ukraine. That is a real human value working right here and now on Ukrainian ground. And you don't have to be Orban to visit in Ukraine and receive some plan and directions from outdated Russian Tsar and dictator how to treat human values. Human values work everywhere, or they don't.
Okay, I have one more question, maybe the last one. Why Orban came to Moscow right now? During two years, there was a visit to Moscow of Orban, but after the presidency, the first visit to Ukraine, the second one to Moscow, to Russia. So why he wait for his presidency?
Okay, so I don't think that he waited for. I think he avoided for 2 years the necessity to visit Ukraine, because this is a trend. Okay, Dima, let's call it a trend. Everyone was here. Boris Johnson, Biden, every single one politician who wants to have political future was in Ukraine, talked to Zelensky. Even now, he's the only one in European society, political high-chaired society, that wasn't here, has not been here. So he was forced. So he avoided it until he can. Now,
Who forced him?
the situation forced him. And now, okay, well, let me answer that.
I will stand on that point that visit is not necessary. You could make phone call.
Yeah, you can make a phone call, but he wants to also have, this is all about the image. He wants to be negotiated. He comes to Zelensky, gives him the plan, then comes to Moscow, and then Zelensky and Putin each other and then sign and whatever. I mean, this is the paranoidal schizophrenia. Forget me.
And we had a story on UATV just before that Orban he is really forced to go to Ukraine. He's forced to go to Moscow because he has been building his image of the bridge between Beijing and
He has
Europe.
his image in Europe. Everyone knows that Orban is a white sheep. Everyone knows that when you vote for the support for Ukraine, Orban must go to the toilet. Everyone, he has his image.
Well, that's what he does. He goes to Moscow.
to toilet.
Yeah, so maybe that was the plan. I mean, I'm joking, but at least what I think, Orban is trying to squeeze out of the situation as much as possible. So the image of a great negotiator is a very big candy for the vanity. People, like vanity. People, we're all about that. That's a Vanity Fair, exactly. So, are you googling the answer on the question, Paul?
No, I was just looking at the first news of the visit of Orban and Putin, and Putin has once again announced his ultimatum to leave for Ukrainian Oblast for peace negotiation.
Well, whatever Putin says sounds like the ultimatum. Sounds like the another red line, but whoever.
But a red line for whom?
Whatever, yeah. Whoever needs to pay attention to that, it's whatever. He already done all he could. He instigated the biggest war of this century.
Let's hope it will be the biggest and the last one in this century.
Yeah, it will be. Let's hope in this century, but it will cost a lot of blood because Europe is democratic, and democracy is a hard thing. You have to negotiate. You have to find reasons. You have to find all sorts of candies. Orban is hunting his own image of the great negotiator. Coming to Kyiv, do you think he's stupid? No, I don't think so. I think he definitely understands that there is nothing he can really offer to Zelensky. And there is nothing he can offer to Putin but the fact of the talking to each other, to both of them. That's it.
You see, you said that Orban had nothing to propose to Zelensky, but they spoke during 2 hours. 2 hours, it's not 5 minutes, not half an hour, not an hour, because he came to embassy, he could speak with Hungarian minority in Kyiv, he could stop in Uzhhorod, in Transcarpathia, he could do anything in Ukraine.
I mean,
but he spoke with Zelensky during 2 hours.
2 hours. All right. Well, let me put my thoughts in a more concrete form. So, in terms of relationship with Russia, Orban has nothing to offer to Zelensky. In terms of relationship with Hungary, of course, there's a lot economical, political, historical ties, whatever. But if we're talking about the negotiation, about the war, then just I can't say this word,
okay.
But this is a very rude word, and this is true. You cannot offer someone else's land freedom and sovereignty because we already have it. We have to fight for it now. All you can do is help or don't stand in our way. You can try to go, I mean, that's diplomacy, that's politics. You go to Moscow, right, and discuss things. What things?
Well, he wrote on X social network, the peace mission continues, attack and stop Moscow.
Great.
The third stop is Gaza.
Probably.
Okay, we can finish here. Yeah, that's another story.
Yes, I see, this is another story, and we will maybe discuss in our future.
Just by the way, it could be a good team.
In our future episodes, I want to remember our viewers to subscribe to our UATV channel. In the comments below, you could discuss this theme because for me and I think for my colleagues, it's very interesting, and there are many thoughts that we didn't touch.
You see, we all have different positions. After all,
and as I see, we stay on our positions after half of. But maybe someone.
We discuss it later on, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
Discuss it later.
the cameras will turn off and we'll have discussion.
Another discussion. Believe me, the tone will be harder.
It will be red lines on our face.
No, there will be. All right.
Yes.
Red trickles of blood. All right.
Yes. So subscribe to our UATV channel and see you in the next episode. Thanks to Henry Keen was today, Pavlo and Dmytro. See you.
Goodbye.